Very, very warm. Good evening. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It is Saturday, the 17th of January, 2026. And it's another Indian football and more discussion on the channel. And at the start of every video, as I like to say, if you like the conversations, if you like our discussions, do leave a like behind, share it with other people to join our conversations on Indian football, on anything else which is football. And if you aren't a subscriber yet, do subscribe to the channel and become part of the Arun Foot family. And at the start of the show, as I just started, we stand at 3,712 subscribers. Thank you to all of you. And earlier today, I did a video on Indian women's football on two topics which I found interesting and important. I've linked the video here in the chat, which on one side, Manisha Kalyan moving to Peru, as well as Amelia Valverde joining the Indian women's national team, supposedly as the head coach. But again, there are some issues from what I'm hearing. So therefore, we will talk about that. So therefore, thanks as always, guys, for joining in. And of course, we'll as always talk about the situation in the Indian Super League. How good, how bad is it? Is it really on the verge of happening, not happening? Because there is a lot of confusion from what I understand, especially on the topic of where are the teams going to play. There's a lot of confusion on that front at the moment as well, because it seems like that a lot of teams are having issues on finalizing their home venues because of the grounds not having been taken care of since last year, since April. So that seems to be a big issue at the moment, which is an issue that grounds were not maintained. All of them except Jamshedpur is are in government control, and therefore, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. Therefore, yeah, it's an interesting scenario happening in the ISL. Hi, Gina, and I absolutely delighted about the Manisha Kalyan joining the Peruvian League. Hope she becomes the flag bearer of future women's football stars of India. Gina and I think she is already the flag bearer of Indian women's football. She is one of the flag bearers of Indian football. If I want to generalize on that point, I think Manisha has achieved something which is very great. Thinking about it, that she was playing in Apollo in Cyprus. Then she was playing at PAOK. In Greece, and now moves on to Peru. So she has and so therefore for me, it's a big thing for her and for Indian women's football. Looking early on, Bala Devi, of course, having been Glasgow Rangers, sadly due to COVID, things didn't work out and she had to return. So therefore, yes, it's a big thing for Indian football. Can we expect fixtures of ISL tomorrow along with the tender? No. Prasad, the tender at the earliest will come out on Monday, from what I know. Again, maybe we're surprised that it might come out tomorrow. The problem of the fixtures in general, what I was speaking early on, is I think the biggest problem at the moment, if we want to talk about uh, fixtures, is the question of who's going to play where. And that seems to be becoming a bigger issue with the number of teams realizing that their potential number one option of a home venue is either not available or is blocked, for whatever reason. So therefore, there are different entities which are facing this problem in the league, where they want to play at home, and then they're realizing, oops, you know what, my so-called home venue is not available. So therefore, that is becoming a bigger and bigger issue for most teams, and therefore that's a situation that persists at this moment in time as I speak to you, that the teams are struggling to figure out, some of them, where to play, or are trying to figure out where they want to play, how they want to play, and then it's becoming very complex. So therefore, that's the situation as it stands at the moment, as things are. Why are the clubs not respecting the AIFF deadlines? Prasad, it's the other way around. Why is the AIFF creating deadlines? You know, um, AIFF creating blind deadlines which the clubs cannot keep. It shows you the ignorance of the people running. Uh, you know, uh, um, you know. Um, so therefore, if I don't know if and when my ground is available, how what is the state of my ground, what I have to do to up keep my ground, um why would I do it? So the problem is, Prasad, you are asking the clubs to do everything. You cannot give the clubs money because you don't have money, right? So de facto the clubs are funding everything. Yeah? And you're creating blind deadlines because you have had some things in your mind, the minister has had some things in your mind, in his mind. We are in a very, very bizarre state at the moment, guys. Ogni, hi. Here's Gurpreet saying on tweet, apart from money and will, compared to India, African nations, better scouts and agents are very strong in sending kids, sending for trials or deals with teams. Okay. I don't know where you saw that tweet of Gurpreet. Um, Listen, the reality is 70-year-old African kids with no links into Europe cannot be transferred. So that's the first thing. So therefore, all of these things that get discussed, nowadays really make me angry, because it seems to me that people don't seem to know what they're talking about. You have to be 18-year-old and a professional to be able to get into Europe. So first thing, professional contract and pro. And if anybody is moving before that of age, he's not moving for football reasons, right? And and yeah, in Africa, because young talent is accepted in world football, forget European football, in world football, you have people who have set up academies, I know people who set up specific academies to train kids, and at the age of 18, that these kids can come into Europe. So therefore, this comparison doesn't come. And again, you could have the best agents in India. The talent in India at the moment is not good enough to be going into Europe. I think that's your bigger problem. Other the I League committee has no veto power, but in ISL, Council AFF has the veto power, literally trying to show their muscle power and doing politics with ISL clubs. Aditya simply said because they've had trouble with a number of I League clubs in the past, and the ISL clubs have been very friendly and very cordial and very nice. I think with this current AFF, you have to be a bully to get things done. And the point is, I think the AFF doesn't want trouble with the I League clubs. Maybe even they say, listen, we're not too bothered about. The other side of the thing might be that they're not bothered about the I League, right? If you see how much they've tried to deal with the Indian Super League in the last few weeks and months, then you realize that for the AFF, the ISL seems to have some value somewhere. That value is not there with the I League, right? And of course, the I League has always been something where the AFF had to spend money, right? We are forgetting the fact that the AFF was generating revenue because of the ISL. You know, uh, you know. So these are the realities, and this is where, uh, you know. Uh, um, so let's wait and see. Our discussion between Chennai and Odisha with their governments. Prasad, with Chennai FC, I don't know. I think Chennai FC is very difficult because of elections and other things. Odisha FC looks possible that they will stay in Bhubaneswar. But again, nothing confirmed. Again, these are things that the AFF last week said, okay, yeah, thanks, let's do this. And so therefore, for me, it's a situation where if we look at things, that if I see things, then there are problems. A lot of teams are facing problems in regard to getting things over the line, and that is, yeah, that's the reality of things at the moment. How long will this go now? I would have been a club owner, I would have had vendetta against Job at this point. Aditya, none of the owners are dealing with Kalyan Chaube, right? That's also a fact. I don't know, except let's say except BFC, right? Pat Jindal, who's most probably dealt with some, you know, um, mm, so therefore, um, so let's see how that can be solved, because the management's, um, yeah, um, in the I League, you're rough and tough. And in the ISL, actually, because of you've dealt with Reliance over the last 11, 12 years, there is a certain standard which is not there in the I League. AIFF told that they will change the veto on commercial decision rights for ISL. Shan Mukherjee tweeted. Yeah, Prasad, again, what I said yesterday doesn't mean it is going to be right tomorrow. AIFF changes this and that and everything. I wouldn't trust them. They want clubs to sign 20-year contracts with no clarity what's going to happen even next season. How can I trust these things, right? Did you saw Man United dominated City today? No, they say Arsenal fan. As I've said, not the biggest fan of the Premier League, and I was out today, so no, I didn't watch it, and I was watching Bundesliga this afternoon. Sir, but better agents can arrange trials. Well, it's an agent network. It's not Europe, Asia, Latin America. We have seen Baichung Chetri, Sandesh go out. Can this be done more better way? No, Ogni, sorry. This sounds so naive if you say it the way they say. No, it's not the quality of agents. Baichung didn't go because of an agent abroad. It was an Indian gentleman who wanted to prove a point that an Indian can play in England, right? Raj Purohit was the gentleman's name. Raj Purohit did it at the time. Yes, Sunil went via his agent to America, but he went to a guy who was very friendly with Indian matters, who wasn't an agent to Sporting Lisbon through my very good friend Nuno. And Sandesh, yes, did go out via an agent, but again, went there and didn't work. I have put players abroad. It's quite funny that you mentioned these guys, right? Enabled Changte to go. We did the stuff at Fortuna Düsseldorf with Nirmal Chetri, with Godwin Franco. It is very difficult, and I am also again not an agent. It is not about better agents. If you ask me today, would I help Indian footballers to go abroad? I'll tell you honestly, no, because you know what a headache it is to mention. Oh, you know what? Give this guy a chance. I have to literally beg people. You think it's an easy thing? Oh, you know what? Agent calls. Hey, listen, I've got an Indian footballer. No, wake up to the reality. Sorry, guys. Uh, that this is the biggest problem. Why? Again, very interestingly, I don't even know how many ISL foreigners in the last few days have been transferred to the Indonesian Super League. 8, 10 of them. How many Indians have gone? We have a Sadly, we have to talk about a lack of quality amongst our players. If we like it or not. And that is something which is there. That's why our players are not sought after in the international market. Move Singh government are working on a deal for Kalinga Stadium. Let's see. Sounds good. Aditya, I got it from lab source, not from some news report. Okay. Listen, Aditya, that we're talking that they have to do a deal is an interesting issue, because you know what? That the minister at the central government said, you know what, um, we will make stadiums available for free. I see no stadium being available for free for anyone, right? Is the League team's home ground ready? No. Prasad, how can they be ready? No one has a ready ground. This is the problem, right? We have not had football for 6, 7 months, right? You know, so that's the point. That's the point. Why are we not hearing any news of I-League clubs on their home ground? Are they ready? No, they're not. So that's the point. Some of the questions that you sometimes ask, in general, can be answered, because those are some of the realities that are there in what we speak about. And it is insane to think, but again, these are brutal realities, and yeah. So therefore, for me, um, these are some things. These are some of the realities. Hi, sir. Any news? It's nothing much. Again, ISL in the works, and then the rest is C. Even the I-League proposed model is trash. I don't know why people are not criticizing it. Arman, very simply because there is this sort of fan lobby who support the um, I-League, so they don't want to um, you know and it would not be preferable if you would criticize the model. Again, the models, both of them don't work if there's no commercial partner in it. What do you think? This is Germany and Government Minister will be accountable for their words? Come on now. Aditya, you know, yeah. Again, it's a problem, but again, a lot of people thought that, hey, listen, because the minister said it, things will happen, right? And it's not. Sir, ye regime kab jayegi? Saksham, at the moment, it looks like hopefully September. Now we can't even qualify for the next AFC Asian Cup 2031 or 35 or 39. Hannibal, let's not look too much. Again, I've forgotten, to look forward um, to 31 is down the road. 35 is even further. 39, forget. I am looking at the next 4 or 5 months. What is happening in the next 4 or 5 months in Indian football, right? And to me, if we can't rectify all the issues, problems that are, then we don't need to talk about things which are way in the future. And so therefore, for me, it's I don't need to think about the year 2039. It is so far away, right? That again, I don't even know what's happening next week in Indian football, right? How can I talk about the future there if I don't know what's going to happen next week? Do you think AIFF is not to remove veto power for all matters except disciplinary anti-doping licensing rules and regulations could now lead to a solution like what FS said offered? No. For I said no. Footy Tribe, your problem is at the end of the day. The governing council, again, is your least of your worries. Your worry is the commercial partner. The whole ISL, whatever the AIFF is telling you, is being funded by the ISL clubs, right? Because otherwise, this league will collapse because the AIFF doesn't have the money. So as long as we, again, your matters of disciplinary matters, rules and regulations, doping, right? These matters anyway have to remain with the AIFF. This is normal, right? Licensing normally is with the league body. Again, my question is, if you're creating this council, who is going to be the league commissioner? Who is going to be the person who's running this whole shebang called ISL? Same also for the I League. Who's going to run it? Is it going to be the leagues department of the AIFF? You know. So my problem is that you guys are asking very valid questions on one side. There are bigger questions out there that need to be asked for us to be able to move in the right direction. That is my only concern and point to worry about, right? Kalyan's regime is no less than Khomeini regime. Anibal, let's not mix up sports with politics. Any tender update? No. Would serve nothing. It's that Indians only watch cricket. Viewership of HIL, ISL, and PKL shows India will never ever watch other sports. I mean, CCL gets more views than HIL, ISL, and PKL. Listen, Arman, I have given up on Indian watch figures, to be very, very honest, because I know, for example, that the ISL figures or I League figures are not right. Even the figures that we have had of the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga or the Champions League or, all these figures, again, how they're extrapolating numbers. Are their numbers real? So that is always a question which remains. And the problem is, yeah, again, with all the problems, I spoke a few weeks ago someone who's very important in the kabaddi space. And he said to me one thing. He said, listen, whatever people tell you, Arunava, you've always been right. The numbers for football are always bigger than kabaddi. Whatever we tell you. That is also a reality of things, that where we are, where we stand, what is there, what are realities, that football is the number two sport in India, right? But cricket is so far, so far away that we're not even close. So therefore, that is something which we need to keep in mind and remember. Does any official club fan association have any role in any league around the world? No. No. Listen, Lucifer, one thing I have learned, um, you know, to be a fan, to be involved in a club, to run a club, two words. Out of own experience, I'm a football fan first. Then I'm someone who's working in football. And I will always tell you, working in football was and is something totally different than if I am someone as a fan. Because as a fan, it is very easy to criticize A, to criticize B, to say this, to say that. Very, very easy. But when you are in a position of power, you have to look at a lot of things. It's, for example, the people who are at the moment involved, you know, um, who are managing those 14 entities. It's a very tough role. Very, very tough role. But yeah, that's the way it is. Now, even I have my doubts on the league. If we had FSTL, the league wouldn't have started without any delay. Listen, Augusto, the league would have been running most probably for 3 months, right? Maybe even four. The problem is that these are realities which are brutal, brutal. And to me, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? Hockey India League getting almost no views. Crap Celebrity Cricket League gets more views. It shows we generally sucks when it comes to sports broadcasting. Also, many of us use VPN to watch MLS and NBA. Gina and I, again, even if you're using VPNs and whatever's, but if the CCL has its viewers, right? The viewers, again, is it for cricket or is it for the sport in the sense, or is it for the celebrities? Right? I go back to the old example of Lionel Messi coming to India. Um, we are a celebrity driven country, right? So for me, that is always a point that when we do something in India, the celebrity, whoever the celebrity XYZ is, that celebrity has a certain level of impact on things. And that is something which is, yeah, which is for whatever reason actually there. And and that is something which is there. And so if you combine cricket with celebrities, then it gets a certain level and then gets a certain reach. In the context of football club ownership, which model is more viable and sustainable? The Germans 50+1 model, where members, fans have majority control, corporate ownership with disparate minority stakes. See, Goku, I also have to say that the German 50+1 model, which means that you have to have 50% plus one ownership of the club in the hands of the fans, which is a very nice thing to have, right? And I would always say that the German model is the best. Now we're looking at the commercial side of things, right? If you want to, you can work around it. Red Bull has done it with RB Leipzig. Very, very interesting how they did it. A success model, working around the 50+1 model from a clear cut corporate strategy, marketing strategy, a clear cut strategy. Hertha Berlin de-invested in the club, got 370 plus million euros into the system, didn't manage it well. Now second tier, right? Hamburg has been fighting for a lot of years, you know, and have had a rich guy supporting them financially in the background. So the 50+1 rule, in my opinion, is good. But if I compare it now with what has happened in the Premier League, like if again, we will, if we talk, let's say, about Man City, we'll talk about, the 115 rules that they've broken, this, that, everything. Listen, if you want the rules to be applied to everybody in the system, I don't know how many rules that every club in the Premier League has broken. If you want to apply those rules in a hard and tough way, because I think every club breaks rules if it comes to the commercial structure in English football, right? The same applies to Spanish football. If the Spanish state over the years had not kept their hand over Real Madrid and Barcelona, the clubs would not exist anymore, right? And so therefore, for me, Schalke is a good example. 50+1 has been a harming model because there have been 3, 4 rich guys in the background who are members who have been actually putting money into the system to ensure that the club stays alive. right? So, in my opinion, if you ask me, there is no perfect model in football. There are different models, but to me, I don't see a perfect model in football where you could say, listen, this works, doesn't work. But if we want to work on a commercial model which is successful and workable, oh, that's a big ask. In my opinion, that's a big ask. And yeah, I would always fight for the German model. But again, is it the perfect model? Very difficult to say. Will Kalyan tenure considered as worst tenure of all time? I personally don't see any positives. I mean, I can only speak, as I always say, about the last three presidents: Kalyan Chaube, Praful Patel, and Priranjan Das Munshi. Right? Those are the three that I have seen in my time as AFF presidents. Now, if I go back one second, let me let me go through AFF, the AFF presidents list over history, right? 1 second, where do I have it? Right. So if I look at the presidents that the AFF had, right? Um, Kalyan is the current one. Praful Patel, since had 13 years. President Asmunchi was 20 years. Khalida Ziauddin, again, I don't know him. Nurul Amin from Assam, I don't know him. Um Manindra Nath Datta Rai, again, Pankaj Gupta, Moinul Haq, D. Moinur, Brigadier Dorman Smith, and Brigadier VHB Magendri, right? Those supposedly have been the presidents of the FF. I can only speak about the last three, right? Um, then yes, Kalyan Chaube by far is the worst. If I have to compare amongst the three that I've seen, we need to learn from France, even being the one of the footballing giants, the national rugby team and rugby competition top 14 get more TV viewership than footy. Even basketball is doing brilliant in France. Okay. Yeah. Listen, you don't have to be a single sport country. Now my focus is on next AFF presidential hope that brings in Praful Patel like era. Hannibal, we will have to see who comes in. Considering what's happening in France, I want 50 plus one model in Ligue 1. West Paris, except PSG, every Ligue 1 club very fancy struggling thanks to poor TV deal by Lord Vincent Labonne. Listen, Aman, the problem is in France has been that the TV deal has always been an issue, and there have been people not willing to invest the money that is needed to push the product. Right? France has had that problem over the years. Now, Paris FC, interesting. Let's see what they can do. Olympic Marseille suddenly has money again. That will be the interesting thing, yes, but others will be struggling because the TV deal issue will be there for all leagues in the years to come. With TV becoming less of a factor, with streaming becoming a factor, it will be interesting to see that the TV rights that have been sold for ridiculous amounts of money. And I think India and the Premier League is a good example. The Premier League at the top was earning $50 million a year from Star in India. That value is gone down to non-existent 1.5 or less, right? By the way, why do people on Twitter hate Mr. Praful Patel? I've been following Indian football from starting 2023. Why he gets so much hate? Why has he been into any controversies? Hannibal, people think that nothing happened, right? Praful Patel brought in Reliance, pushed ISL. So those would be the things, I guess. And of course, misinformation. I'm surprised that no ISL clubs have just closed their shutters after this AFF league proposal. Hannibal, I think a lot of these people have spent a lot of money. My logic would be now, if I look at all the owners, I have spent X number of, years on football, right? Most of them 11 years. I have lost substantial amounts of money, right? The wish and the hope of trying to recoup money. And this is interesting, right? Hockey India League, three of the franchisees lost their owners. So there is the departure of the system even after 12 months is incredible to see, which is hasn't luckily, I always say, luckily, nobody has said, you know what, Tata bye bye. Because if one person pulls out, I see it's like a domino effect. I would see four, five, six saying, you know what, enough is enough. we're out of this. And therefore, I think they're still hoping for a turnaround and only somehow making money at some stage, because most of these people have drowned too much of money, right? Only good outcome in this region was we won few trophies. What's up? What we did, did we win? Do you think that in winning Intercontinental Cup is important? Do you think that the Tri Nation winning is important? SAF is good, but SAF is, I mean, winning SAF should not be a, a conversation. You know, I, you know. So therefore, yeah. If you would say the outcome is a few, again, those trophies count nothing. Aladdin Achare has now left Northeast United FC. One more after Chima Nunes left. Yeah, Gina and I, again, for them, all these players waited. And Aladdin Achare has extended his contract before leaving Northeast United. So that is, I would say, is a positive. But the point is for these guys is that none of them see the ISL as a league at the moment as something serious. That should be the concern for you, me, and I, who all are fans of Indian football, right? They don't see the ISL as a serious league at the moment. But even if you ask me, yeah, exactly. That's the point. Sorry, I didn't read it earlier. In a month, humans are returning to moon after 50 years. I hope that would keep my mental state right now that Indian football is in shambles. Yeah, I mean, Hannibal, shambles here or there or whatever it is, we are in a very, very difficult situation. We are in a very tricky situation, and hopefully things will change for better. But the realities are, we are where we are at this moment in time as I speak to you, and things getting better. I don't know. I honestly don't know if that will happen or not, because to me, as I've said earlier, it is very difficult to comprehend what is good for us, right? At the moment, it looks like, oh, you know what? Yeah, here, there, things will somehow happen, but then you stand there and you think, no, things can't happen, right? So therefore, for me, I don't know. Yeah, it's a big mess at the moment. If you ask me that, where we stand with Indian football in the year 2026. Are football clubs forced to bend rules to stay competitive? Or are they their example of clubs as in balancing sporting integrity with commercial profitability, even if it's tough path? Yeah, there are, Goku. There are tons of them. My favorite example is Bayern Munich. Right, Bayern Munich has built its wealth on its success. You know, uh, so therefore, for me, a lot of German teams have stayed that with ups and downs. Eintracht Frankfurt, VfB Stuttgart, have gotten relegated, come up again, right? So that is certainly there. So German clubs, there are tons of those examples. I mean, look at Borussia Dortmund. Think about Borussia Dortmund in 2005. Actually, was a few hours from going out of business. Uli Hoeneß, right, the man behind Bayern Munich, arranges 2 million euros for Borussia Dortmund to survive, and the rest, as they say, is history. And they are Bayern Munich's biggest competitors of the last 2 decades. This is what football is about. Is the AFF veto power? Does it mean voting? Reno, it means that the AFF, if people want to change something in the ISL, that the AFF can say no. That's veto, right? Because the AFF is the owner and the operator of the league, right? I feel the best club competition we had was Super Cup this season. Won't even get the quality of Super Cup in the AFF ISL league. Let's see, Augusto. The Super Cup was badly organized, but it happened, and the rest, again, I don't know what will happen in the coming days and weeks and months. Right, quick reminder, over 34 minutes already on the Saturday evening on this Indian football and more discussion. Like, share, and subscribe here on Arunfoot. 8 people have liked it so far, guys. I think we can do better. And we still stand at 3,712 subscriptions. Thank you for that. Watch my short video, which I did today on Manisha Kalyan and Amelia Valverde joining the Indian women's national team in the last few days. I've done yesterday something on Bayern Munich. Then the structure explained on the ISL governance. Xabi Alonso fired, other things. Watch those short videos, like those short videos, please, please, please. And thank you as always for your support. I feel the best sorry, we had that. Certain messiahs who said FSA is looting in the name of franchisee fees are now silent that AFL is doing same thing. Them not speaking about AFL shows their hypocrisy. Arman, FSDL was never looting. if I'm paying the franchisee fee, I was getting more than the franchise fee back. If I was paying 1 rupee, I was actually getting 1 rupee 10, 1 rupee 20 back. Right? Here, it is one-way traffic. My money is going, I'm getting nothing back. And if you will, again, as long as there is no commercial partner, as long as there is no sponsor willing, you know, uh, um, you know, so that's the point. So therefore, the the messiahs, Arman, have led us into this situation. The messiahs is have created this mess for us, and now we have to live with that, right? So your views on Bundesliga? It's called Farmers League, where only two teams won. Dortmund won the whole league. This Arsenal fan, the Bundesliga to me is not the Farmers League. I mean, if the Farmers League, if you know the logic of Farmers League, of course, yes, Bayern has been winning it a lot. But if I look at even if I look at the, let's say, the Premier League, which is supposedly the toughest league in the world, right? The team which has won the league over the last few years, always that number one team has always been far away from the rest. Mainly Man City, mainly Man City. Once in a while, Liverpool has caused problems to them under Klopp, or even last season. This season, Arsenal, with City losing today, if Arsenal win, Arsenal are 9 point ahead of City, right? So that is to me similar, situation as with Bayern and Dortmund. Yeah, Dortmund are currently second, but in the last few years, Dortmund was never second. Last season, Dortmund finished fifth. So to me, and if you see a bottom of the table fight today, if you see those matches today, I feel the quality at that level is better. I don't know if I don't know if you want to watch Tottenham versus West Ham today, right? So to me, again, I am biased. I'm born and brought up with the Bundesliga. I will always say that the atmosphere is better. I think the football is better because in England it's all about running, physicality, this and that. But is the football really better? Right? I'm seeing a Florian Wirtz at Liverpool where I know Florian Wirtz is a quality player, but is he really suitable to that football? Right? Maybe Wirtz in Germany or in Spain or in Italy would have been better. You know? So that's the thing. After seeing Hockey India League getting beaten up, I'm grateful to ISL club owners that they didn't pull out of Indian football. Hannibal, very important thing to say. The Hockey India League, two stakeholders in the men's game and one stakeholder in the women's uh, league system pulled out after season one. I know people who've told me, "Arey bhai, ye kya hai? Main kyun invest kiya?" And I told one guy, I said, "Why would you invest the money you're investing into an Indian professional sports team at the top level, be it football, be it kabaddi, be it um, be it hockey, right? With that money, you could most probably buy a decent club in Europe, uh, have money available for transfers, and build something. And but your money is rolling. Here in Indian sports, it's a one-way street. The money is gone. You're pouring money into it to keep it alive because across not only in football but across the Indian across the Indian sporting system, the salaries are too high. Sorry, guys. So that's the thing. What's next and what the model you suggest to ISL to work? Renal, ISL, I think FSL's model was right. But what I have also learned over the last 3 months is that the clubs are not dependable partners to run a league. The biggest learning, I knew that the AIFF is a mess. But if the clubs cannot stand together and fight together, you know, and so that's the reality. So I don't know. So for me, normally the model that has been now proposed, listen, is a copy paste model, right? I mean, most probably you can enter a few prompts into Chat GPT and it will throw you out this model, right? Again, I don't think that anyone has put um, any brain behind this. But my thing is, can these entities jointly work together to do what is right, right? Um, and build it in a proper way. The model is right that, but the AFF should be on the table, but should not be dictating terms, which they have to, right? Because that's what the Supreme Court has said to them. So to me, the first step, Renal, again, I've said this multiple times over the last few days. The first step is that the AFF steps back and says, we do not need to own the top tier of the country, which means constitutional change. First step, which then also means change in the AFF because the current AFF is not going to do it, right? So, so that's the level. Humanity will be a multi-planetary civilization before India qualifies for men's FIFA World Cup. Anibal, I hope and I wish not. If you're saying that we will go to Mars before India will play a World Cup, wah, I hope not, but that can be a reality. How is Amelia Valverde? Hannibal, I have what I've heard. She's she's a tough coach, very demanding. So therefore, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Today, England's East Bengal Man United won against Man City as Mohan Bagan. Right, happens, right? Why do Indian companies hesitate to acquire foreign football clubs in regions like ASEAN, Asia, Europe, or North America, having the financial capacity and potential global growth? Goku, good question. I don't know. Again, I remember the Ambanis before even getting into Indian football were linked to Man United, linked to Liverpool, and linked to other teams, but none of them have ever invested. Very interesting, yeah. But still, FSDL lost a lot of money. Raj, again, FSDL lost what? Forget FSDL. Let's call it Reliance. Reliance, most probably, not most probably, Reliance has lost more than 3,500 crores in 15 years spending on Indian football. So, can you lose 3,500 crores and sleep tonight? Can I sleep losing 3,500 crores and sleep tonight? Or anyone here in the chat? Any one of us? I don't think so. Right? They're willing to do it. They have done it. And they're still getting gali for it. So, welcome to Indian football or Indian India in 2026. I said clubs are paying a 9-10 crore franchise fee and was getting back 19 crores in return. Nothing could have been better than this. Hannibal, I don't know where you're getting your 9-10 crores and your 19 crores. Again, also these numbers, please be careful before throwing out numbers because these numbers are not right. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Hey Roshan, just saw Bundesliga conference, Borussia Dortmund versus St. Pauli. What a thrilling end. Yes, Roshan, you as a Dortmund fan surely will be happy. 3-2 to Dortmund. And again, if anyone watched Werder Bremen against Frankfurt 3-3 last night, I think again, I don't see, sorry, with all due respect, and I've got a lot of friends who work in the Premier League. I don't think the Premier League can get, yeah, compared to what it is. So did you watch the match? No, I didn't. Shakbu wants the City except Jeremy Doku. Nobody looked good. United just kept going for pressing and pressing today. Perfect highline aggressive tactics. Gina and I, no, I didn't watch it. Again, I wasn't home anyway. But if I'd been watching football, I would have been watching second Bundesliga at the time. Then why clubs are in loss despite of getting money? Raj, why are clubs in losses? Because they're spending much higher, no? The salaries are too high, your operational costs are too high. Even if you are getting that kind of money, again, most entities are losing 20 to 40 crores. You're generating maybe 25 to 45, right? That's the generation level. But you're spending too much. Indian corporates can invest in lower tier European clubs and develop Indian talent there, and they won't that face losses because of India running non-cricket sports is an issue with no returns. Arman, why would I do this to develop Indian talent? Again, my first question is why would I do this to develop Indian talent? Simple question, right? Because I take the example of Blackburn Rovers. The Venkis have owned the club now for what, close to 15 years, right? What have they done for Indian talent? I remember Aniket Jadhav got a little bit of time to train with them. What else did they do? I don't even know what else they did, right? They came to play against Pune FC once, but that was, this was pre-ISL days. So therefore, it doesn't matter, right? Yes, they could, but would they know? Leicester City title was a plot twist that left everyone wondering what just happened. Goku, that can happen, but that will happen once in what, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So even if the league happens this season, summer will be filled with jumlas. Renner, I don't know, but I fear yes. Again, I'm honest to you guys when I say I don't know. I know a lot of people are telling, oh, this will happen, that will happen. Do not listen to those people because they don't know and they don't understand. Again, anyone adding one plus one and is coming to a three conclusion or is saying, oh, no, you know what, one plus one is one, which I see all over the place. It's not, it doesn't work that way. All right. So to me, if you ask me, I'm interested to see once this league starts, how many of the clubs will sign on the dotted line of the 20-year contract? Because the 20-year contract does not make sense at all. If I'm willing to lose, I don't know how many hundreds of crores as a entity, then you can commit to that 20-year contract. Because at the moment, there is no understanding of how you are going to generate even 1 rupee, generate 1 rupee. That is the problem, guys, where we're stuck at the moment. False Messiah stated in last interviews that I don't understand. I don't consider Indian leagues a stop. That's why I don't play my main boys in I League and I want my players in Open Leagues club academies. And man, nobody will take those boys. Yeah. So who has taken those boys? Your boys have played last year in that league and they were not good enough and got relegated from their league. What are we talking about? Right? Dismantling the ISL, what has it helped us? It's not, right? Is the ISL perfect, this, that, everything? No. You know, right? Actually, we're definitely going to Mars before even playing qualify next AFC Asian Cup. Hannibal, I hope not. But yeah, could be possible. Why people hyping whenever kids? Let's see, 2026 makeup. No, X9P, forget the makeup. All these mimicky cups makes no sense, right? What is the sense of playing these tournaments? If you're not playing proper league football, these tournaments are BS. Because a tournament is a tournament. You tournament again, even the ISL this year is turning out, or the I League will be a tournament. All these things. Do you think that the European clubs are playing their best players in these things? And even if they are playing their best players, that the players are asserting themselves? No. TVS invested in Cambodian League. Raj, how much did they invest? What did they invest? They have an interest in the market, no? They want to sell bikes or whatever else in the market. Mahindra once did something in Oman, right? Why? Because they had an interest in the market. Some East Bengal FC fans spread a rumor that FSDL made 40, 50 crore profit last season. Hannibal, you can always say that. But if you've lost the amount of money that they've lost, right? And in the Reliance setup, you're moving money from left to right to ensure that your books don't look awkward. If I'm Reliance and if I'm FSDL and if I'm showing, listen, I have lost 200 crores, there's going to be a lot of SOS signs and a lot of alarm bells ringing left, right, and center. And you will be willing to avoid that those alarm bells ringing, right? So let's see. So for me, all these things, especially, and this is what I feel I am, I don't know, I, but it's a problem with different fan groups. Some of them actually want to believe the lies, the the lies. Yeah, let's call them lies. Wrong facts, artificial information, because they think that that is that way they're supporting the club. You, as a fan of a club, need to first question your own club. What has it done for Indian football, an entity which is 100 years old? And don't come me with history, legacy, this. And same question to Mohan Bagan. Don't come me with 1911. 1911 is the first myth, which is a part of the problem of the whole legacy of Indian football. Everything from 1911 to the 1960s are all fraudulent facts which have led to where we are today. Because in the 70s and 80s and 90s, when things needed to be done, nothing was done. I remember Zeb Blatter once told me, listen, he went in 1995 to India and asked those guys, said, guys, why don't you have a national league? Then they come around, we have Kolkata League, we have this league, oh, we have IFF Shield, Durand Cup, third oldest in the world, to Rovers Cup, and all that BS. We are in a situation that we live in a narrative world in Indian football where the real issues have never been addressed. And when someone questions them, and I've been questioning them for nearly 3 decades, they do not like it. Because all these people are exposed. All these frauds, all these incompetent people are exposed left, right, and center because Indian football, you know, that is the problem, guys. Because what I say, I will say again and again, Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Mohammedan Sporting should be at the forefront of Indian football development. You know? So therefore, it is no point. Yep, Cambodia. Any good up? No, so what? If you want to take good update, again, I did a video earlier today. I'm using her picture in the middle. Manisha Kalyan joining Lima in the Peruvian League, champions of Peru. I think that's great news, guys. Um, yeah, that would be good news. And in the men's game, wait and watch. The day real European boys come into picture, the Messiah will no longer have that face to show to people who are his own fanboys. Raj, but the people don't care, right? They'll find a reason. Oh, there's that everything. Who cares? Yeah, at last sports is a business. At last sports, Raj, that's the point. If we like it or not, in today's world, sport is a business and you have to treat it like a business. And that is the whole point. If you don't have the management skills from a sporting perspective, you could be the best manager in your business, but in sports, you are dependent on results. I go back to season 1 of the ISL, and I've told this many times to people that I sat on the drafts, right? And I'll be arrogant enough to say this. I put together on paper the best team in the ISL in season 1, but it didn't work for different reasons, right? So the theoretical best on the field will not be the best. Yeah? So for me, and I did the consequence, right? I wasn't happy with the way that things were running. Even though within the setup, I can still say that certain processes, certain people that were there in 2014, that Mumbai City is the only entity which still has the people who were there 11 years ago, right? There are people who've worked now for 11 plus years who are going to go in the season 12 who are still there, right? So I know that but I also know that I did things wrong. Certain things I would surely do differently. But that is what I'm saying, accountability, introspection. And if I'm not happy, I'm such a person. If I'm not happy myself, I go. I resigned myself and went home. That's what I did. Hey, Blue, can you explain the 20-year contract now? Is there any contract without commercial partner? Blue, your second part of the question is the question. How can you go to the clubs and say, hey, sign this document. Let's go ahead and do this. Uh, you know, um, and you don't have the most basic thing in place. You know, so therefore, for me, um, again, if you ask me if I was running a team, I would not sign the 20-year contract. If my owner asked me, Arunava, should I go ahead and sign this? I would tell him no. But I leave it to you. But if you ask me, and yeah, now we have been having court cases between Islam for League Shield Trophy. Yeah, so with those clubs, La La Land, no? Just a quick update. India Kasha linked with Alberto Nogari was in Secunda, played till November, though he's 36, good for a short term. G99, wait, let's wait and see. Again, a lot of players will be linked left, right, and center. I don't even know if Intakashi wants to sign any foreigner. We can outrage, we can demand things, but decision makers, clubs are not even together to take a call. The clubs themselves can only save themselves. Raj, very well said. And the problem is that there are too many clubs looking at themselves. That is the reality. Uh, uh, so therefore, that's the reality. Hey Ochut, welcome back. Crispin slash Amalia case should have been handled more professionally. Put yourself in Crispin's shoes. Will he have the motivation to train the team in Turkey right now? Ochut, there are two, three things that come together. First of all, it is very interesting. What I realize is that it seems like that the AFF, not I realize, I know that the AFF has been trying to figure out a foreign coach now for a while, right? Not since yesterday, but for a certain period of time. And now the issue seems to be that they couldn't figure out how to solve this issue in regard to bringing in the perfect coach. And again, I from what I understand, either that whoever they were talking to, they it wasn't just the coach. Someone who wants to come in to coach the Indian women's national team will say, listen, I have these set of demands nowadays, right? This is my coaching staff, this is my camp, this is what I want, blah blah blah. All of these things. Um, so therefore, for me, that is the first thing. That Amelia Valverde, the name comes out. If I'm right, I think Marcus was the first one to put it out into the market, right? And that is insane to think, right? And that they're supposedly the players are in support of Crispin, not realizing where we are at this moment, right? So I don't know. It's but it adds to the AFF and its titles of what they've all done. I don't understand the question, my club, because sir, I can answer their contribution is nil. Nice one, Blue. Yes, except sir, the whenever it's fraud in terms of quality, they will reach senior. F- Quality, are they proper age? There's so many questions. If only we had serious Maidan fans. Yeah, Simon, that's the whole problem, right? Yes, sir, seeing situation, the single revenue does not have any solution. Okay, back to Maidan. Yeah. Delhi FC loses. Okay. Messiah is fraud. I know, especially majority of fans in India can't understand the Messiah fraud. Unreal. Aura by Insta Unreal. Yeah. And again, the logic that he comes by and says this and that, everything. Yeah. If people believe it, then we have a problem. You know, you see, club officials, luxury properties in Kolkata, they did only development and building own properties, says Raj. Did they see loses 0-5 to Lucknow Falcons? Just saying. Oh, wow. Okay. When Messiah lost 5-600, people give excuses like jet lag, only 5-6, and smart European boys. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be. No, no, we have Dana Cup, Norway Cup. Yeah, Raj, that's the problem. I don't even remember when was the last day that football trials for were held in my district, in the same district every day. In newspaper, read all this three for local cricket, all age group. So, what again? What is happening locally, of course, depends on the locality, and is there an interest in football or not? It's always a very very difficult one to speak about. But to me, yeah, and that is how where things stand at this moment. That's the reality of where football stands behind cricket in large parts of the countries. Saw the Indonesians having a lot of discussions on the quality of pitches and broadcast quality the ISL had over them. They seem to be more aware of Indian football fans themselves, which is insane to think, Simon. But again, Indonesia seems to be growing quite fast in football at the moment. So maybe I or you or we shouldn't be that surprised about it. But again, Indonesia is trying to do a lot of things in football, and So therefore, for me, and yeah, let's wait and see. But uh, yeah, Indian football fans need to question themselves. There'll probably be an ISRO space station and maybe even life on another planet, but India and the World Cup, who knows? Oh, Goku, where it's getting more and more dangerous, huh? The amount of damage done in the past 4 years, and especially speed rolling into the past 11 months alone, has put us 40, 50 years behind already. Simon, sadly, very well said. That is what my biggest fear was and is at the moment in time. If I look at things, we are walking backwards without realizing that we're walking backwards. And these people who are in power are literally destroying things, and those who could make a difference are unable to come together to make a difference. Yeah. Right, 1 hour and 1 minute. Quick reminder: like, share, and subscribe to our own foot. 12, 14 likes. Sorry, 14 likes so far. Thanks a lot. Please do like. More than 20 people watching at the moment. And those who might be watching new and you're liking the conversation, do subscribe to the channel. I do realize that about 40% of people who actually watch the videos are not subscribers. So if you think it's good, please do leave a subscription behind. Help us grow the community, reach more people. We stand at 3,712 people who are part of the Arunfoot family. Thanks a lot. And I did something, short a video today on Manisha Kalyan moving to Peru and Amelia Valverde joining the Indian women's national team. Do watch that as well. Thanks. One thing has really astonished me in this situation where football is completely off, no Indian players even attempted to play somewhere else outside India, even in lower divisions. Sort of, you are pointing out something which has made me very, very angry because it is something which you think is very easy for an Indian footballer to just go somewhere and then say, "Hey, listen, I want to join you, I want to play." Again, why am I angry? Uh, um, to me, um, I think there is no Indian footballer who at the moment can go abroad, right? And you have to stay in the professional game. So you can't say, "Hey, I'll go to the lower divisions, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever tier." No, that's amateur. You can't go there. And to me, um, why would, again, my logic is, I at least know, I know at least three, four players who've tried to go to Southeast Asia, even to the second tier, you know? Um, so therefore for me, and they all got to know. So there is no market for, again, if it was a normal year, if India's relationship with its neighbors were better, maybe some boys could have gone to Bangladesh, right? This has happened in the past, right? Baichung Bhutia, I am Vijayan, a lot of Bengali boys from East Bengal, Mohun have had short-term contracts in Bangladesh and played there. Vice versa, Bangladesh is playing in the CFL as well, or even I League. But all those markets are dead. So therefore, there is no market for, again, sort of, it sounds easy, oh, they should go. No. All the Indonesian clubs who have signed an ISL foreigner will never ever sign an Indian player. Because I guess at some clubs that conversation would have happened. All these Kolkata clubs brag about defeating some non-professional English clubs some whatever years ago. Listen, it's not even clubs. It was an army team. It is not a football team. It was an army football side. We're not talking about some Sunday league team. We're talking about a jumbled up group of army men who have been beaten. Again, Mohun Bagan defeating the East Yorkshire Regiment is more important for the freedom struggle of India than for Indian football. All our history, all these stories, the movie Maidan, this, that, everything, very nice. We missed the bus on multiple occasions. In the 50s, when the world shifted from Olympics and Asian Games to first the World Cup and in the late 60s to the AFC Asian Cup, we still focused on the Olympics and the Asian Games. We made the biggest mistake in Indian football history by not going to Brazil, right? Right? So therefore, for me, that needs to be understood. If we want to go back, and those problems have multiplied over the years, because if you speak with these older players who are still around, why are, for example, in Kolkata, most people quiet about this whole ISL fiasco? Most of them are, right? A lot of them are running around and doing stuff around the Bengal Super League. but they're not saying anything about their because, you know, I'm Messiah's fan leader of fanboys. I easily get manipulated by watching reels defending him till last. We'll play make up biggest cup. Yeah, yeah, Raj, that's the problem. And they're like, defeating these clubs got us freedom. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You won against British Army, sir, legacy, sir. Yeah, Raj, exactly. I guess Crispin is replaced for the wrong reasons. No, I don't think. Roshan, again, if I don't know Amelia Valverde, right? I can only go by the little that I've seen and read about her. But if even 50% of that is right, then she's of a different level than any coach that we have in Indian women's football. With all respect for Crispin or Anthony or all those guys, right? But bringing her in now, I don't even know when will she join before Turkey or will she join only after they come back from. I don't even know when she's coming, and we are playing in March, right? I mean, let me get our dates for the AFC. Uh, 1 second. Let me see what the dates are. Right, our dates in the competition. We play on the 4th in Perth against Vietnam, on the 7th against Japan, and on the 10th against Chinese Taipei. Right, 4th, 7th, and 10th March, 17th of Jan. Right, so again, yeah. Just for the washed ISL, AIFF is ignoring U17 men's India team, women's India senior team, women's U20 team, and women's U17 and there's preparing for Asian Cup. Still no matches for preparations. Gina and I, you know what the problem is? Without the ISL money, the AIFF can't do anything. That is your biggest problem. The biggest problem is that the AIFF, with all that they can do, right? But the problem is at the end of the day, as we're just talking about the women's team, where is the progression, the possible progression, because we don't have the money to spend on these preparations. Till now, Bibiano's contract has not been extended. Bibiano could now potentially go to an ISL team as an assistant coach, maybe even a head coach, right? He's on the market. Um, so let's see. And that's why we need Papa Perez in here, says Simon to Hala Mandir, Gina and I. Yeah. But again, look at how he's messing up his own club. I've been spreading the truth about the false messiah on Instagram comment sections. I've been really successful. I've seen comments turning around about him in the last 3 months on Insta Reels. Hannibal, congratulations. Do it, continue. And not only you, all of you guys should do it. So what's the term Maidan? Sorry, not very familiar with Kolkata football. Maidan is the um, central park of Kolkata, so to say. It's a huge area, the Kolkata Maidan. It's the green lung of Kolkata where the all the football biggies of Kolkata, not only biggies, a lot of establishments, um, social clubs have their sort of club tents, now clubhouses, whatever you want to call them. The race course is based over there, right? East Bengal, Mohanbagan, Mohammedan have their stadiums on those premises, on the Maidan. The Maidan is so big, yeah, it would take you an hour to walk from one end to the other end if you just would walk the straight line around Chorong. Yeah, about an hour most probably down Chorongi. And that is what the Kolkata Maidan is over there. Maidan culture. Yeah, it's no Raj. I mean, there are certain things. Um, if I go back, I'll tell you. You know, uh, you know, uh, you know, if you go back, and I uh, uh, and sit on the Maidans and have a chai, maybe have a fish fry. You can have lovely conversation. Right? At the press club, you know what is happening in India in 15, 20 minutes, talking to different people, right? What is the reality of things? Because The press club also has its own clubhouse over there. So therefore, the Calcutta Maidan culture is nice. But then you walk out and then drive back. I drive back either to our home or to the hotel, and then you come back. I at least have to come back into reality and then realize this is not where things are and where things stand. So yeah, those are realities. Is Lucknow Falcons contain UP plus? I XTMP, honestly, I don't. I would think yes, but I don't know. Okay, what prominent promises revenue sources made you guys join hand with FSL? I mean, what breakthrough were you guys expecting that will bring back money from football? Subodh, the first thing is, I think that was not the way that the ISL was constructed. It was that the Ambanis created the league, right? IMG Reliance created the league. Now, IMG Reliance, you have to understand that IMG, as a sports management company, is the oldest sports management company in the world, set up by Mark McCormack. Now, they have been behind the IPL. Never forget the fact that IMG conceptualized, put into reality the idea of the IPL, which a certain Lalit Modi had. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that if I am someone from the Ambanis, I was able to convince someone like a Goenka, someone originally in Goa, the Tempos and Salgaokas to invest, the original investors of the Blasters, the Danis to invest into Chennai, John Abram into Northeast, Rohan Sharma's dad into Delhi, right? And all the others who were involved. Later on, I convinced the Tatas to come in. The Tatas have always said, you know what, we have Tata Football Academy. We'll never have a top tier club. JSW decided to join the league. So from that point, that is the conversation that has happened. Did they talk about numbers? No. Mrs. Ambani, in front, again, the times that I was there in 2014, the conversations were always there, is the aim needs to be to try and break even after 5 years and get towards profitability after 10. That was what was said. What was it put into numbers? Yes, because the idea was after season 5, the TV commercial deal somehow could be cranked and money made. That is the thing. That is the one single thing that didn't happen. Why the ISL couldn't go to where it did go? Because also that the problem was that we had COVID, right? And in the background, the costs of organizing the league have gone up and up and up over the years. So that is something that there is, and that's why I feel that all these club owners are still sticking around. Again, there are 5 or 6 of them who wanted to shut shop multiple times over the last few months. Let's be very clear on that fact, right? There were X number of entities close to saying, it's done, shutting shop, tata, bye bye, I'm gone. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Indonesian clubs making all ISL teams. Yeah, Raj, looks like it at the moment. The good thing is that we are at a respectable position amongst the ASEAN leagues as developing leagues, but all we have done is ruin it entirely. Yeah, Sam, we were in a decent position, but now we're nowhere. Hiroshi Ibusuki went back to Australia, joined Western Sydney. Interesting, Simon. Yesterday, Safandia made news channel, sir. X9P, again, if I am going to be on a news channel, if I'm going to be on someone else's platform, you will always find out. I always at least tweet about it, write about it. So check it out, guys. My request is follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Even here in the what is it called, the post section of my YouTube channel, I always write it or post those videos. So yes, I went to News 9 where we had a discussion on football state of the ISL, and yeah, I did speak at the time. I feel like I'm losing hope day by day. Don't know how you stayed in this for 3 decades, and I don't see a comeback from this. It's better to shut all down completely. Then shutting it down completely, again, I don't say shut it down, but I think a reset was needed. And this is where I think the clubs made a mistake. So therefore, yeah, let's see what is, yeah, where we go. What is the possible way to attract viewers, that is fans? How you guys manage to attract attention towards your club tournament league? So we had to go out at the in the first season. We went out, went to colleges, went to schools, went to malls. To attract people. You know, again in 2014, the online world wasn't as important as it is today. So therefore, the approach was a little different. That's why. So let's see. You find an Indonesian discussion about ISL Insta on YouTube. I don't think it was Hannibal Arvind. I think it was Simon who said that. Football would be a dead sport still we qualify for FIFA World Cup. I don't think so. I think that with a proper league, with the right things, that football can grow to a certain level. But the FIFA World Cup would always be the exponential catalyst. Seeing current situation, I better be in coma rather than living as Indian football fans. No, X9's P. As a football fan, again, if you like it or not, you will have good times, you will have okay times, and you'll have bad times. Being an Indian football fans, you have more bad times than good times, right? So if you or I, we like it or not, these are the realities of things. And therefore, for me, if you like it or not, um, the reality is, um, yeah, that's the you know um, you know. So therefore, that's the you know. Um, it's very difficult to say, uh, but yeah, it's as a football fan, I will always say, whatever your football fan being is, uh, it is very important to stay, believe that something good might come out one day. People present making video on Bangladesh playing and World Cup, similar thing happening with India. Yeah, Raj. Again, I saw the video yesterday of Gianni Infantino, and some people have shared it. Yeah, let's see. Crispin replaced is good because at least World Cup manager is good idea. Being honest, I would want her at least 5 years for Indian football as coach. X9P, theoretically, yes, but the timing is the question. No? How do you reckon East Bengal's ASEAN Cup victory in 2003 under Subhash Bhome in the context of Indian football? Sort of in the context of Indian football, again, it's it was a huge achievement at the time. If I give Subhash Bhomik a lot of credit for what he did in those years with East Bengal, winning the title, in the NFL, also being able to do things with his team. He had the full backing from Vijay Mallya. The only sad thing about the ASEAN Club Cup was, again, East Bengal beat Bek Tero Sasana, who reached the AFC Champions League final the year before, that the tournament was only held once. And so therefore, sadly, as big as that victory was, and I think it was, from a club perspective, the biggest victory ever in Indian football in that way. But yeah, but let's see what happens. Um, yeah, with club football in the future in an Asian or continental context. Crispin Chetri, respect for me, can continue system. It's all AIFF want him. Okay. All sports get a small amount of government, I guess. Not smaller, bigger. Yeah, they get something. I don't disagree on a coaching level, but I don't expect her to bridge gap of lack of preparation. To be clear, I'm hoping to be proven wrong. Roshan, she cannot do that. No one can do that. You could bring the best coaches in, women's or men's. The deficiencies which you have, you will not get away with. The question is, can we tactically form a team which is defensively strong to keep things together, or do we fall apart? Mohun Bagan winning made us believe you don't expect from day one to be world beaters. It's just a symbolic victory of those days. The military people were physically superior, so at those amateur times, a small indie club defeating the army. See, Nadeem, you just said in different words what I've said. And that's why I say, in a context of the Indian freedom struggle, it is very important. Football, this is, for me, it's a fake narrative. You beat an army team, right? You, even if you're an amateur footballer, you are a football team. These guys are not a team. This is a jumbled up, whoever is available, put out the guys and let them play. This needs to be understood, right? Us being successful in the Asian Games or even in the Olympics, brilliant. But nobody else in the world cared about it anymore. They moved to the World Cup. If we don't understand this basic premise, and anyone with football knowledge should know that. But hey, go back and celebrate the IFF Shield victory. Brilliant. Has helped us a lot. Monwas played a key part of India freedom fight. We should respect, but bragging about it for decades unnecessary in our kind of situation doesn't make sense. Legacy. That's my point. Oh, that's my point. From a football perspective, this whole narrative, we did this, we did that, it does not hold, in my opinion. As yeah, that's the problem. Um, Maybe it would be better if we ever had become a coach before at least 4 5. Listen, X9P, yes, but again, now it's the way it is, right? Me too, doing the same what Messiah. People are slowly getting it and are doing counter questions to him. Great, great, guys, do that. Question all these people wherever, whenever you can. Counter them, question them. Just put that question into the mind of people. Say, guys, is it true what these people are claiming and saying? Are they right on those points? What have they done for Indian football? Right? That is my simple question to all of these guys. Aap Indian football ke liye kya kiya? Have you really done what you claim to have done? Right? Where we can watch Manisha Kannan matches for Lima. Goku, I have no idea. You have to check if there is, first of all, is there any broadcast of those matches in Peru? I don't even know. And then maybe you'll find something of a stream or something. I have not found anything. So anything about Chennai? Karthik, at the moment, as far as I know, I think the big question is, can they play in Chennai, yes or no? I think that question has not been sorted. Those were the days. Heard a lot about the after work, pub culture, interbank, local tournaments, the CFL from my grandfather, who was 92 and still going strong, by the way, around the 70s. Yeah, Simon, supposedly, again, I don't know, Uchud, if you're still there. Uchud has played the five-a-side scene in Kolkata, which is played in the winters. There is parts of the Maidan culture which is really good, which is really interesting. But the point is that we are in the year 2026. Football has moved on. And those things which are there, five-a-side, seven-a-side, they can all exist, you know? And but it doesn't help you with the realities of things in regard to, is it really true or not, and we need to move into the future. We have not moved into the future, so therefore again, that to me is a big concern. Sir, am I join when any update? Reetwala, sadly no update. I think it's a question of getting her work visa and other things. So again, I have not heard anything. She was supposed to join um, um, in Turkey, but see, let's see. Messiah making some non-football fans to produce Messi. Messiah, even if you get 150 crores, Messi can't produce is last 20 years. If I come on money spent on grassroots academy, 1,000 plus crore. 9XP, the simple question to him is, okay, you're saying you want 150 crores to spend on Messi. Okay, I get that. Have you not spent more than 15 crores in your academy? Right? So the question to me is, so why produce 10? Produce one. If you can produce one Messi, we are sorted, because our football is surely going up because of that one player, because that one player is going to be so good, he's going to pull up the standards automatically. Right? And there's going to be marketing, everything is going to be there. Focus on that. If I ever visit Kolkata, I will explore that place. Utsav, 100%. If you're going to Kolkata, you have to go to the Kolkata Maidans and again visit the three clubs, visit if you can the race course, other things, have a look around. Yeah. Did the expansion back in 17 cause the gradual economic collapse of the ISL? No, no. You got two strong economic powerhouses into the system, which was Tata's and JSW. So I wouldn't say that. I think what broke the backbone, I think, is COVID, right? And uncontrolled salary rise. So therefore, for me, those are the things. When did you see nations? Okay, how many Messis were produced after Tata invested JSW, etc.? None. Listen, we've never produced a Messi. So even the discussion of producing a Messi, listen, 15 crores producing a Messi, it doesn't work that way, right? So for me, this is the first thing we need to understand. You cannot say that you are producing a Messi uh, 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 because for me, it, it it is not linked to numbers. You again, look at, for example, the Qataris are spending millions, 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 maybe even billions on their football, right? Have they produced a world class player? No, it is that correlation doesn't work. Sports is not, as I've said this today also. Sports doesn't work in the it doesn't work in these lines, right? So yeah, so therefore that's the reality. So yeah, that's gonna be for me. Yeah, those are the things. Like the version of NFT. Let me see. Okay, sir, I'm saying you have own news channel German found out from. Acha, yeah, acha, yeah. I co-own, yes. RS1 TV here in Remscheid. Yeah, I said broadcasting money was around to work over star. It's over a version with money. Then that then went in central pool. Who says that, Agni? You guys pick up an information that someone has put out and saying, "Oh, this has come in. That is coming." Do you know that the 275 were put in? We're talking about a valuation of 2 years of 550, right? That was done by a UK-based sports management company, right? So your numbers don't work, right? And if you're telling me that that's the valuation that you think there is, then that money is going from one pocket to another pocket because Reliance was there and then Sports 18 was also theirs. And Star became theirs, right? So that 275 actually is directly a minus for them. Then the easy money to clubs made them casual? No, not the money. They not having to do anything. The money part was not the reason for being the way they are. For them, the biggest problem has been that that the clubs, didn't have to do anything. So after all this, I thought just boycotting this season. But then next thought is these are toughest times and need to support to keep it alive. Raj, you're right. This season, those who are real Indian football fans, right? They need to support it left, right, and center. We all need to support it because without our support, you know, this cannot survive. We need to tell people watch, watch, watch. Very important. Support, support, support. We need to continue to be critical, right? Don't use your mind. but we need to support. If we see something is wrong, we call it out, but we need to support it. Otherwise, it might be the end. Khatam, tata, bye bye, gone. The broadcast deal of full market value was never that. That might make clubs huge spend or false hope. The bubble burst now with over reliance emphasis for bailout. Only again, TV rights is not the thing. The clubs are willing to spend. Look at Mohun Bagan Super Giant, right? They're spending money on players. Again, even on foreigners, double, triple the money that the players are worth. There are some players who are getting 5 times the salary they would get anywhere in the world. So the valuation game is a problem. And even if I do what I call a salary cap, people I've said this X number of times. If you want to, you can always work around it in Indian context. Someone or the other will do a jugaad. That is a problem, right? Leipzig versus Bayern. I really hope Leipzig step up, need to do better than the opening 0-6. Yes, they need to. Interesting game. I'm watching in the background. It's Luis Diaz with a counter-attacking move for Bayern. Luis Diaz across. Looking for Harry Kane. Still nil-nil after 16 minutes, but chances at both ends. When will ISL schedule out? Such a no idea. The problem is that most clubs don't know where to play. That's the problem. And it seems like also that in Goa only the Fatorda is available, right? Um, the Bambolim Stadium is not available. There are floodlight issues over there, and Tilak Maidan has not been taken care of. If one state government can change whole football situation, if any state government done so much invest in football, just asking, sir. See, X9P, we have multiple state governments who've invested in football and done stuff for football, right? More or less, right? Mizoram government comes to mind. Meghalaya at the moment is doing a lot. Even Arunachal is trying to do a lot. Bengal has done certain things. Odisha has helped football. Goa has helped football. Kerala, even, whatever they've done, right? So all these, you know, but it's not at the level that is wanted and needed. So therefore, from that perspective, a lot of things have happened. Um, right. So yeah. So that's that. Hasn't the ASEAN Cup prevented itself to the ASEAN Club Championship? No. They only had an ASEAN Club Championship once, right? With ASEAN Cup is something different, if I'm right. This is the time where Kolkata clubs can actually get some sponsors through government connection, as elections are only the day. Raj, I think it's because of that it's not possible. Heard rumors of modern Sporting and Mamata talks about sponsors. Simon Modern Sporting has said that they have someone lined up and they will announce on the 25th, and that has come through the help. Um, I'm waiting to see. A 12-year-old saying our club won IFA shade legacy is over a century. Why I hear the same thing for 80-year-old to a 12-year-old? Raj, because there's a lack of understanding on the fact of, that this has been passed on from generation to generation, right? That our football is this is this, and they don't even know the Indian football history, no? So that's the part of the problem that we need to get past, I would say, right? That's the challenge for Indian football in today's world. To be honest, my problem of Indian football history, not what's a myth or truth. My problem is this overloading mentality to compare everything with the past term football is also the tendency. Yeah, but Roshan, you know what? The difference between Indian and German football is that German football has actually had success, right? We are 4-time world champions, right? We are multiple times champions in the women's game, right? So we have something to show. In Indian football, your history is built on things which, if you ask the world, people who know nothing, anywhere in the world, has Indian football had any history, or any legacy, any success? I think 95% of people, maybe even 99% of people will say no, right? That's the reality. Are the Kolkatas even trying to get sponsored and do anyone care about them? The political class cares more to directly buy votes than wasting money on them. Blue, I don't think that people are interested. As again, I think that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan would face the Mohan Bagan Sporting situation if the Goenkas and if the Agarwals pull out. Agrees, sir. If only they did anything to save the foundation date between 2004 and 19. Yeah, a lot of. Oh, Leipzig go ahead. Goal. I think it's Romelu. 20 minutes. Yeah, Romelu with the goal for Leipzig. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happened in those years. I would start most probably in the year 2000. Or actually, no, I would start in the year 1999 with Baichung going abroad. That opened a lot of eyes. Baichung Bhutia going to Bury, this, that, everything. You know, so therefore, what to say. So let's see. Maybe now, but Mamta didn't have them when they needed the most. I don't think, yeah, difficult. So the mother is like an illusion which puts you automatically in a bubble as you enter it. Talking to people who are stuck in 60s, and funny part is that they don't want to accept that they are in Delulu. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is, if you go to other parts of Kolkata, na, go to the social clubs. I don't know, you go to a Bengal club or a Calcutta club, you know, you'll have different conversations. The Maidan is in its own world. Who were other cream grassroots coaches we've had in the present or past? Simon, I don't think we've ever had any, if I want to be brutal. ISL was introduced as platform for Indian players, not as a talent development stage. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Comical Lama. Welcome back. I remember JCT, Tanta, Goa, and the Northeast Gold were the main hub back in the 2010s. 2010s, yeah, yeah. I would. Tata wasn't a hub in the sense it was for youth football. It was a hub. I think 2010 already it was declining. And ooh, good chance. Luis Diaz into the arms. Um, yeah. Why produce a Messi? Why not produce someone who's better than Messi? Augusto, forget Messi and yeah, let's produce a Chetri, JJ, Baichung. Yeah, Simon, exactly. That would be my point. Forget Messi. Forget Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, Beckenbauer, whatever you want to talk about, the best players in the history of the game. We are at this moment not able to produce a Sunil Chetri, a JJ Lakatua, Lal Peglua, a Baichung Bhutia, a Renedy Singh, a Lalindika Ralte, a Eugenson Lingdo, a Goramangi Singh, right? Forget a Shubroto Pal, even a Gurpreet. Had the players, how the players will have that quality when coaches are not of that level. The Indian coaches lack knowledge that European coaches, but having AFC license, that's what I feel. No hate to Indian coaches. Yeah. Do you have hopes on Johan and so filling the potentials again? I'm not trying to hype. No, no. If they prove me wrong, I would be happy, but I have no hopes on anyone going abroad. And you don't need to know the reasons how and why these guys are there. Right? They're not there on football merit, no. Sorry if I'm breaking a bubble. They are, pay to play. Let alone the 90%, you say 50% wouldn't know India plays football. Yeah. A very valid point. Right? If I want to talk about that, that is very true. And that is a problem. And yeah, that is, yeah, sadly, yeah. And Simon has an answer to Blue, and that's why only 21 or so serious people exist in this chat. Yeah, Simon, that's the problem, right? I mean, the channel has grown substantially over the last year, right? We stand at 3,712 as of today, right? And we get, accumulated 300, 400 views. And it's lovely conversations with you, but yeah, we're not hundreds of people um, having these conversations at the moment, right? And that is part of the problem that I perceive persists in the system. Um, quick reminder: if you haven't, like, share, and subscribe. Those of you who are in the chat, 22 likes. Thanks a lot for today. And yeah, um, I can only say um, thank you to those of you. Um, and again, let's try and keep on growing. I need your support to grow this platform, this channel, more people to reach, and let's see if we can do more. Had a very detailed conversation with Mono fan about Goenka leaving Mohammed. The answer is if Goenka leaves, we had many lined up to invest because it's a big legacy club. Okay. Then, Raj, follow up that question. Follow up that question. Name me one who is waiting to invest in Mohun Bagan Supergiant or Mohun Bagan Athletic Club. One. Forget, you know, many lined up. Just ask him to name you one where he is 100% certain that that person X or that company Y would invest in Mohun Bagan. Because your argument against that is there is nobody. East Bengal had to beg, the government had to intervene after Quest left to get Sri Cement in and also to get Imami in. Without the intervention of the government. And what East Bengal forgets, the intervention of Reliance, the one party that these guys are always abusing. Without them, they wouldn't even have their investors. So, again, this is why I say these people are in La La Land or in the Lulu Land, whatever they are. Indian football has to be better. Either these clubs wake up and be part of that or disappear at some stage, right? Raj says, Simon, well said. We're only producing next Liston Colossus and Glenn Martins, etc. Yeah, yeah, Blue. I mean, the next generation is not even, I guess, at the moment, of a Liston Colasso level, right? If you ask me. Sounds hard, um, you know, um, but that's the reality of things at the moment. So therefore, for me, if you ask me, um, it's a massive thing. It's a massive thing for me, for you, for us. Um, you know. So therefore, for me, I don't know. Um, it's a it is. It's how can we get better? Again, that's the question to me that comes up again. To me, that question comes up as the most important one, right? Blue, you're wrong. It's Lord Liston, the CR7 of India. Yeah, Raj. Is there any training programs done for the scouts in India by AIFF? Our scouting is horrendous to say the least. I don't know if the scouting is horrendous. Um, you know, um, to me, the problem is, um, you know, mm, is it the fault of the scouts or is it the fault of the system, right? Um, what training program do I need for a scout? Either you have an eye for talent, meaning, do you see X, Y, and Z kid, boy or girl, as a professional in the long term? That's the only thing I want to talk and discuss about. I don't need to have someone coming into the system and saying, you know what, that is whatever it is, right? If whoever it is, I need to think, do I see that boy or that girl as a professional, if early as an 18-year-old or maybe at 22, 23, as a professional, as a top class professional? And that is what is not being done, right? So therefore, for me, um, if you ask me, that is the big problem, thinker, right? And at the moment, a lot of these scouts, you know, um, are asked by their respective clubs to look into this and find someone and then potentially play at an under 13, 15, or 18. The amount of money we have invested should be at least in under 60 ranking. Raj, if that's your logic about how much someone is invested, then what? Is Qatar going to be top 10 or China going to be top 20? That logic doesn't work. That logic doesn't work. Those who spend the most will not be the successful. Those who spend wisely will be the most successful. Do these people realize if Reliance wanted, and I think they still have the power, if they say the Goenkas or Imani won't be there? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I don't think the people realize, you know, how it is, how it's not to be. Yeah, that's it. So something Kings Cup is going, which is a weird format. It's embarrassing. We're losing in double digits. Raj, a Kings Cup was started in Spain by a certain Gerard Piqué. So there's a lot of these 5, 6 side competitions which have started in Europe. Kings Cup, Baller League is quite big here in Germany, also in the UK. And Kings Cup has had leagues, let's say in Germany, right? In Germany, Bastian Schweinsteiger is involved. You've had in the UK as well. And some or the other, they're having a World Cup, a Kings League World Cup. And an Indian team seems to have been made up, jumbled together from mainly the Kerala Super League, or Super League Kerala, sorry. So therefore, um, yeah, and I, I think Romario's Yeshuraj is the most well-known name in that list of players, who's played FC Goa and at Chennai as well. And yeah, I mean, 18 goals. I think 18 goals they conceded to Mexico, I think. Shows you, right? And these, again, that's the problem. I look at our futsal results. If we don't specialize in these sports, in these games, none of this is, gonna get us results. We can't even, yeah, but Simon, even bring Simon, it won't happen, no? I mean, again, it is on my uh, watch, so to say, that someone like a Nikolai Agam came to us because I spoke to the German DFB and the AIFF themselves, and we got Nico involved, right? It is, why would Nikolai Adam didn't come because the AIFF wanted him, because the DFB sent him, right? And Nico also went because there were certain irregularities in the system, which he highlighted, and the people didn't like. So that's the problem. That is our problem at the moment, and uh, um, so therefore these kind of people are wanted, are needed, but can we get them into the system? No, we can't at the moment. That is where I feel we are struggling the most. We're unable to get that kind of a quality, but again also produce that I mean, I remember that team under 15, under 16, under 17, when they used to come here to Germany, they used to compete. They used to compete with the boys, so to say, right? Title of news channels of Kolkata: Mohun Bagan shuru korlo training, দেখে নিন ম্যাকলারেন কি সিক্রেট স্ট্র্যাটেজি বললেন ফ্যানদের. I find these things very funny. Raj, so to translate, Mohun Bagan started their training and McLaren supposedly told the fans his secret strategy. And again, Raj, it is embarrassing. The level of so-called journalism, or is it journalism anymore? It's embarrassing to say the least. And yeah, that's the reality of things at the moment. With that money, we should have built something of like an Aspire Academy, something of that sort. Simon, no. With the money that we've spent, you would have never been close to an Aspire Academy, because an Aspire Academy is X times more of what we've spent, right? Aspire is one of the best, um, uh, best academies, sporting Forget academy, sporting training centers in the world. Think about it. The whole under 17 FIFA under 17 World Cup happened at Aspire. Aspire is that big and of that quality. You will have that, potentially maybe some college in the US. Otherwise, that would not be possible, right? Some news media was hyping Vishal wearing cockers. Yeah, but that's yeah. Again, level of journalism, the quality of journalism is um very difficult, no? Very difficult. Bengali journalism is still this level, sir. Hindi is next level comedy. Yeah. Why do you think that the AIFF was happy to do press conferences in Delhi and not in Kolkata? In Kolkata, at least one or two people might be asking the right questions, no? Right? So we are in our own very dangerous bubble in Indian football, and if things don't change, it's very difficult um, with whatever is happening, right? So very difficult, very difficult. AFF post after losing to Bangladesh women, we lost against a higher side, and today have to defeat Nepal. Our people lost Bangladesh game celebrating like nowhere. But that's the problem, no? So it's I don't know, and it's Alberto is on his way out. It seems okay, interesting. Let's see. Satya, answer lovely to watch for mood refreshment. Yeah, Raj, it's some of these things are the way they are, and it is very often is shocking, in my opinion, shocking that where we are, that we're discussing these things, right? We want to talk about development of football, growth of football, where can it get better, how can it get better, and these kind of things, these kind of conversation. So therefore, I'm not sure where we are in a way to move into a better position. It's very difficult, very difficult, very difficult. Damn sure half of our foreign squad is gonna leave post May. I mean, for Mohan Bagan. Simon, let's wait and see. It's going to be very interesting to see if all of them stay, or if um, Sergio requests for some changes in the squad, and that is something which will be very interesting to see in the coming weeks. If yeah, let's see. By the way, sir, do you have any opinion of Bangladesh cricketer ban in IPL? We're not even enemy, but these steps seem pushing them away. Blue, it makes no sense. To me, it makes no sense because I said that more. I don't know if I said it yesterday, the day before. I think there was a team. I read something that I think MI Emirates, so which is Reliance owned, and a Bangladeshi player was playing in that league. So again, why did you target KKR? Of course, a Bangladeshi KKR, Kolkata, and Shah Rukh Khan in his religion. So the jumble made it perfect, right? You wouldn't have done it with Delhi or with Bangalore or with at Mumbai, right? Because this whole thing is this player was put into the auction by the BCCI, so it makes no sense. Ryan saw we are heading in right path 3 years back and decided citizenship. Right, 3 years back, Ryan's citizenship thing is a thing of last year. How did he know? So therefore, um, so therefore for me, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan play for us. I want him to succeed for us, and then we'll see what happens. How many teams will get relegated this season? I have no idea. If even one will be relegated or not, I have no idea. The clubs have said they want exemption, and that could be a breaking point for some teams. He saw something which Casey couldn't even see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Simon. This is a topic of the last 12 months, so therefore I don't know where this 3 years comes in. I hate to see fans making fun of Ryan Williams for taking up Indian citizenship rather than encouraging him. It would mentally affect him. No, I don't think so. Anyway, I think Ryan Williams knowingly has taken that decision, and to me, um, because he knows at that age, and he had no other option, right? So his options were either to play for India or not play international football at all. So what was the decision? Okay, let me try and play for India. Of course, he plays at BFC. He has Sunil as his club captain, Renedy as a coach. Other players of the national team in there as well in the club, like Rahul Beke and others. They would have surely spoken to him and said, we would love to have you here. Um, you know, and that's a reality. So therefore, for me, you know, um, for me, great decision. Sadly, a few months too late, because I think Ryan Williams could have been a very interesting addition to our squad ahead of the in these AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. But again, it hasn't really worked for us. I mean, his wish to play for, yeah, but Raj, I find it positive. Oh, Ryan, my Ryan, go back to play the A League. Simon, if things don't work out, even with an Indian passport, I think he could go back to Australia next summer, right? If things stay. So first Indian to play in A League could be, right? I mean, the only one earlier was um, Goramangi with a training stint, but otherwise, I don't know anyone who's been with an A League team. Hey Anish, coming back after being busy last few days. Sorry if the question is repeated. I saw report of modified 20-year plan. It seems a lot better to me. What are your opinions? Anish, watch if you want a little bit more detail. I did make a video on it. The ISL governance structure explained, where I also talk about the 20-year plan. The 20-year plan sounds on paper nice, but as long as you don't have a commercial partner, the plan makes no sense, right? So that's the whole problem. COVID seriously caused irreparable damage to Indian football. Think no. I would think that the change in the AIFF leadership is that damage. COVID did certain level of damage, but irreparable damage was done by the Supreme Court of India and those people who made those things in the court. And what is wrong with another speaking crap about OCIs taking up incident of spending so many years in India? Didn't you realize our only options are the OCIs? Hannibal, I feel, knowing Anatha a little bit, I think there is a little bit of hurt speaking out of him. That he had to take it up the hard way, that he had to fight. Nobody helped him. It took him 5 years to get Indian citizenship. Ryan has gotten it in 12 months. So all these things add up. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, but again, that's him. Hiroshi in East Bengal, I think he's gone to Australia if I'm not wrong. Armando Colasso said, has ISL really improved our Indian players? I'm not against ISL. Those old players were golden players who could deliver themselves. New generations, everything at its disposal. Still, football doesn't come out from the heart, especially from the national team. But if it's for the club where they get all money, they'll do everything. Okay, yeah. Now, again, Armando decided to get us Khalid Jamil. I can't take him seriously anymore. Yeah, I can't. So nice, Armando, for saying again. Also, someone who's bitter because in his Dempo days and all that stuff. East Bengal fans are happy after Hiroshi leaving club. Let's see. Interesting is that Pereira Diaz, East Bengal has put in quite a heavy transfer fee and all that stuff. And Mumbai City, at the moment, at least, are hanging on to the player. Was Tolga also really the talented back in the days? Simon, Tolga was an influential player in combination with Robin Singh and other players at East Bengal under Trevor Morgan. Yeah, he was quite good. Don't forget, even COVID League was conducted. Raj, it was, and it was, it got global recognition for being really, well done. And yeah, and one has to give credit to Reliance and everyone involved, and even the AIFF and the I League, that they held those two leagues. That was, in my opinion, a huge achievement at the time. Yeah, it's all going shut down while Civil leaves for FC Kharta Nega. Okay, another player gone in Spain. Yeah, Ahmad Khan was big in 2000. Yeah, that's the point. There's training with Mumbai City FC. Raj, no, he's not training. He's there. Diaz and Ortiz, both the players are training, and at the moment, it looks like they're staying Again, I don't know if they're going to leave, but it looks like it at the moment. And so, so let's see. By the way, sir, out of the topic, how people in other side of the world things regarding Greenland and surrounding situation. They're worried. It's a joke, and they're worried. If you would have gotten Constantine, you think you would be preparing for Asian Cup? Mm, I think yes. If you ask me, with the current quality we have, I think Steven would have turned it around. Yes, he would have chucked a few and gotten a few others in, but he would have. And if you believe, then that's naive. No, naive. It means that you don't understand things. Sorry, I'll be blunt. Right? If you're quoting Armando Colasso for the rubbish that Armando is saying, sorry, Armando, let's call it out. You are at fault of getting us Khalid Jamil. It shows your incompetence, your lack of knowledge. And I don't want to talk about your time as a national team coach because then your reputation is gone forever. Right? So these people should just shut up and move out of the way and let people do the right thing. Right? So that's the problem, guys. If you want to have an opinion, the knowledge, have the understanding, know the nitty gritties. For you to be a fan is very easy. I live in a different world. Stephen Constantine would not have come to India in 2002 if I wasn't involved. Right? So, I'll be full of myself. My opinion counts more than most people because I have done things, I know things. I'm not talking out of the blue. Has Mumbai City FC got new kits? Sam, I have no idea. But the kits is. I don't see that Puma is going to make a new design. COVID scene was the best as a Kerala Blasters fans. Yeah, Babalus, because you guys had that buzz around Ivan and the team, right? If Greenland goes down, then everything goes down. Listen, Hannibal, if the US gets Greenland, we are, yeah, in a bigger mess than I thought we would be. Razic heavily linked with the move back to Cyprus, Greece, Poland, Thailand as other options. Yes, Razic, as far as I know, I think could be going to, you know, I think Cyprus. I think Cyprus looks likely. So, which shows to me that at the moment, FC Goa either with one or potentially with no foreigner at all, right? So that's going to be let's see what FC Goa does. When Handavasi was onto their lowest, their captain didn't leave. Maybe some foreigners still stayed. Raj, that was a different time. At that time, Hyderabad FC, you know, uh, uh, you know, Hyderabad FC as a club was struggling, but the league was alive. Now, you've had foreigners who stuck around for 6, 7 months. A lot of them didn't get any money. Don't forget that point, right? So at some stage, you're going to leave. Yeah, it's end of not and everything mess. I don't think. Yeah, he doesn't care. Paul Moreno might stay, but he has offers from third division Spanish club. Okay. Dave thinks they can stop Trump. Yeah, we can if we want to. Is Khalid Armando responsible for Arsenal not happening? The people who you think can do the right thing, who are they? What have they done last decade in football? Nav, Armando supports the person who's at fault that the ISL is not happening. So yes, right? It is at the end of the day, Kalyan Chaubey who's messed the whole thing up, right? And there are people who have gotten Kalyan Chaubey in, so they are also at fault. The ISL is not perfect. Don't get me wrong. The ISL has not done everything right. But in the last 11 years, the league was running like never before, right? Look at how the AIFF runs the I-League, right? So that is the thing which you need to understand. I'm going to start investing in defense industry, the most responsible financial decision anyone can take, says Hannibal. Is there still a salary cap in ISL now? Not that anyone cares. No, Pavlos. No, they're not. Want to own and you amount to only as a blogger yet to by someone. Yeah, Simon, that's the problem. And this is the level of ignorance. And people are listening to these people. These people should be banned from talking or doing anything in Indian football because they are parasites of Indian football. These people live of Indian football at the end of the day, right? That is the problem. People like me are idiots. I've spent, I don't know how much money, time, and effort on Indian football. I don't even want to get it back, right? And I will do it till the last day that I am able to do something. But hey, there are people who know and think and give gyan, but hey, are part of the problem. And when they created stuff and had all dodgy dealings, we're not going to talk about it. Petri Pena was quite vocal about the issue. Yeah. How do you see players rejecting salary cut? Raj, it needs to be discussed. It needs to be discussed between the club and the players. And at some clubs they've decided yes. At other clubs, um, they said no. So it is an individual thing. And the point is, what is your, how much cut are you asking, demanding, you know? And yeah, so to me, players can reject it. But the players need to play their part to make this possible. If at BFC the discussion is, from supposedly what I've heard, some of the players are saying, hey, you are willing to spend crores on Messi and willing to cut our salaries, then that discussion is going to be difficult. They actually can stop Trump. Only thing they have to do is increase their defense budget. Yeah, we can. Yes. Good to see him playing a conference league with Kupis. Trump casing being Trump to you. Forget it. How is Kalyan's party thinking about him? Will they support him in the next election? Hannibal, I have no clue. And I don't bother. Again, I think the main thing is that if he's around, he's a problem. He was a problem, he is a problem. And the question now is, how can it be changed? I think that's the, for me, that's the question at the end of the day. What is the future without a Kalyan Chaube and with a lot of people, um, you know, in the future? Because our problem at the moment is at multiple levels. If we don't have right leadership, nothing will happen, right? And we see that amongst the clubs. If amongst the 14 clubs, you had two, three sensible people saying, "We stand up, let's do this," right? Um, then things would happen, and that's the problem at the moment, right? Will Kalyan Chawla get a ticket? Last time he was contesting from Bhawanipur against Mamata Manche. Give me a break. Raj, I have no clue. And I don't bother where he will election, whatever. Bengal elections doesn't matter. For me, for me and for you, for us, I think the AFF elections count. People have two options: either no money at all or take a pay cut. Yes, Hannibal, or three, use FPI, FIFPro, and go to FIFA institutions. Right? The clubs. I think at some stage the club should have called on force majeure when September, November, December could have been the times to call on force majeure and then forcefully have a conversation. They didn't do it. And now they don't have a ground to stand on. Now, if you are saying, I'm going to cut your salary because the league is short, you know, so players are too naive to understand this. I don't know if they are. Aludin will never be back again. Sad. Simon, he still has an extended contract. Let's wait and see what happens. He's extended his contract before leaving. But again, my question is, if the situation in the summer is to what it is now, none of these players will return, right? Can players who don't agree be left out of the team? That's a good question, Vaulu's animation. Theoretically, yes. Theoretically, you could do that, but again, that is something where you then have to go to courts or to the relevant bodies in the AIFF and then FIFA in regard to salary. Was surprised with Ravi Pushkar not part of the sensible group. Why, Simon? Ravi is the most sensible guy in that group. If you ask me about the 14 clubs leaderships, he's the most sensible of the whole group. Why wouldn't he? I'm tired to hear that Pachali, many of them might know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's also reality. I feel the situation will be like this in summer also until new regime comes. Hannibal, that's my fear. And therefore, we need a new leadership in the AIFF as soon as possible. If this thing continues, um, yeah, it's we are in a never-ending story, and that story is sort of getting worse and worse. Yeah, I mean Ravi and Abhig, not Pushkar. Um, yeah, Simon. Uh, we should force Kalyan to resign. Hannibal, how would you do that? Tell me how you can force Kalyan Chaubey to resign, and then let's do it. You tell me. Tell us. If you have a path of a resignation of Kalyan Chaubey, yeah, you know, that then, so he's not moving. So therefore, for me, you know, only sensible you can do now. Yeah, but you're saying the sense 100% it's sensible, but you can who can do that? How we can do that, right? It can't be external, right? It has to be internal, meaning the executive committee or the special general body meeting. All of that has happened. We've had rumors. Yes, there are people standing up. They want to remove Kalyan Chaubey. None of it has happened. None of this has happened, right? He is still there. So how are we going to make it? You know, and make him resign. Yeah, make. I'm with you. Make him resign, guys. Easy to say for you, Hannibal, or for you, Raj. But give a valid reason that you say that the All India Football Federation president has to resign. A valid, simple, valid reason, right? So that's that. To me, I don't have a valid reason to say Kalyan Chaubey has to resign. You know, vocal for international city on this. Simon, there are conversations, right? And some of them are more, and some of them are less. If everyone on social media starts speaking about his incompetence, like people trending the Asian Games thing, he needs to know every fan wants him to go. Hannibal, again, if he's following social media, even for one day, he will know that people want him to go, right? So therefore, if that is um, your yardstick of how he can go, all of us, I think, would love to see that happen, right? So let's see. So I'm supporting Hannibal. It's a sarcastic way. Raj, I would, if it was sarcastic or not. If it's not sarcastic, I would say, yeah, do it. The only sensible thing to do is to break the myths, replace them with facts, be accountable, starting from us fans. If only then we will bounce back or at least stir things up. Right? Simon very well said. And that's the thing, you know. And let's see. The people who are coming out as whistleblowers now, when they were part of the AIFF, didn't say a single word against them. Who is an AIFF whistleblower? There is no whistleblower. These people are all cahoots. They have all their own little dirt somewhere or the other. There is no one who has left the AFF who can speak about them and say, hey, listen, I was this, I was that. No, you were not. Right? So, yeah. Jaideep calling out. Jaideep Da calling out. What is Jaideep Da is at fault? Jaideep Da did the case with Ranjit. So what is he talking about? He's got us into this mess. You got us into the mess and you've gone into a position for which you're not good enough. Another one of those, right? Unqualified people. This thing should be a big movement. All the hashtags and do Bengali media against him. He will resign the next day. Bengali media will not. Look at that certain mainstream journalists have written for that. You know, uh, you know. So that's the point. So if the Bengali media do a campaign, do you think Kalyan Chaubey will resign? He doesn't care. He's sitting there and doing his things. No. Kalyan Chaubey needs an egg and a cake and face treatment. Hannibal, do you think, you know, do you think that will change? And this is to hit people with food or stuff. Has it changed anything? You know, right? There was a glitch, so couldn't reply. You said last 7 years the answer were better than I-League. To me, it seemed just a change of branding of letters. It failed to produce the next Sunil Vijayan, Baichung, or any cable strands really got Lords. So you're telling me that the I-League or NFL before that created those players. Okay. I am Vijayan, God gifted talent. No one created I am Vijayan, right? Baichung Bhutia became what he became because he went to Bury. Sunil Chetri, yeah, good for our standards. Sunil Chetri became Sunil Chetri, the player that he is still today, because he went to America and went to Portugal. And in Portugal got a reality check. But what the ISL has created is a professional framework to work under. You know how I-League clubs were running? Even East Bengal Mohun Bagan, right? And even some of the I-League teams still run that way. So on the field, we've not gotten better, right? Why? Because we have not done grassroots and youth football ever right. It is the finished product played in the NFL, the I League, and the ISL. The rest of the world has moved on and gotten better, right? And if you're not willing to accept that and then say, oh, you know, the I League or the NFL was this and that, everything, then sorry, right? That the I League is producing this, that. Listen, the rubbish has been produced across the decades. Voria Dulal, do you think they will speak up against Kalyan? I think that, Simon, that should be your answer. AGM could have done no confidence motion, but they didn't. And later, the same people come out and give statements against Kiss. Raj, that's the problem. The point is, the second where you could have stood up, where you should have stood up, you did not stand up for Indian football. That's my simple point. These people had opportunities to stand up against Kalyan Chaube, and they did not. You know, that's the problem. They say beforehand. I remember, what was it? End of last? No, it was end of 2024. Oh, you know, in the next meeting there will be a no conference vote. A lot of people said, and I said, I have my doubts because will these people actually stand up? No, they didn't. Right? We need to make him unalive. God, oh God. Are we now going into the zombie mode? There's one guy I try to follow in Bong PNC, talks a lot of sense, but again relies on unspecified sources at times. Okay, I don't know who you mean. If people think that I-League clubs make good players, then our brains are into unease. Hannibal, that's the problem, right? That the ISL has not created what we want is a fact. Our problem is that we have stagnated or even gotten worse to some extent, but everybody else seems to have been developing. A lot of countries are using players of origin. We're not open to that fact, right? So therefore, these are our things. And that we have that grassroots in Indian football is anyway a story. Does grassroots factually actually exist? You know, that could be a question to be asked. And a youth football structure, which was getting a structure. And this is one thing I want to say, that in 2018, 19, 20, before COVID hit, we were moving to a certain level. COVID killed our youth football, right? And the new AIFF has been doing youth football as a gimmick. So the last 3 years have been, and the only thing that I think seems to be worth something is the RFDL, which is the Reliance Foundation Development League, right? Who does it? Reliance. So, Ali, no, anyone still watch it? No one give money SSN to watch. Again, that's a another problem. Good conversations, sir. Good night. Yeah, I'll also slowly come to nearly 2 hours and 20 minutes. Wow, I didn't even realize. Again, good conversations, long conversations today about Indian football is always once more like, you know. Uh, so therefore, that is it. Not saying I League or NFL was better than us. I'm saying it's just the same product with different packaging. It's not enough. Having worked in the ISL, knowing standards of the I League, again, I did, what was this, in the bubble 22, I did commentary in the I League. It is not the same thing. It is a much better product, right? The problem is of the product is that if, and this is the issue of club football around the world, right? Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, ISL, I League, whatever, I will look at myself as a club rather than looking at the development of the league or the football of the country, right? Don't tell me Pep Guardiola cares about the development of English football. No, he doesn't, right? Mr. Goenka has clearly said, I want to win titles. Mohun Bagan Supergiant wants to win titles. I said, no grassroots, no youth. Okay, right. In the past, what we call youth football was de facto one academy, which was the Tata Football Academy, producing players every 2 years. That was our youth football. Everything else was jumbling up. And Ranjan Chaudhuri will tell you that the one kid he missed picking, from the Subrato Cup was a certain Baichung Bhutia. That is your youth football that was there, right? We have much more youth football today. It has been diluted, but there is no quality in it because we have a lack of coaching quality. Ranjan Chaudhuri himself has produced over 200 India internationals at senior junior level. And I give Ranjan Da the credit for that, right? He went into a club like Pune FC, did work. Players like JJ Amrinder have come through Pune FC because of that. He went to East Bengal. They didn't allow him to work. This is the reality. Sugar coating, says Raj. Good night, Simon. No one in I-League days were moving like a Manvir Singh or Liston Kolasa or Chunk, except a few who didn't have as much big players pool as we have now. Yeah, maybe that's also a point, right? We have a striker problem. Our problems in Indian football was never visible. Why? Because at least as long as I've been watching, when I started watching where I'm Vijan and Baichung was coming up, when Baichung slowly no, it still was in his prime. Sunil came around. Baichung faded out. Sunil took over. And Sunil has been running this thing for the last 15 years. That's why we've not realized that we've had this problem. We've had always this problem. We have had these guys, and Vijay, as I said, is God-gifted talent. Baichung and Sunil worked very, very hard to get to where they are. And that is independent of the league. Right? You know, if we still had that I-League setup, we would have been struggling to win against Maldives. Haribal, I don't know where we would be. Right? And now we have flyweight players for almost all positions except strikers. Yeah, we are, but again, lack of quality. But the others, again, let me, as the final point for today, guys, the quality of the other teams have moved up. If you look at a Bangladesh, because of a Hamza Chaudhary, a Shomit Shom, they're on a different level. I'm worried that at what stage Pakistan will sort themselves out and become good. Nepal are decent. Look in the women's game. Bangladesh has been better than us in the last 5-6 years. Right? So that's the point. So you on, yeah, News 9. Yes, Raj, I was on News 9 earlier this month and we were speaking about football. Yes, I was. Right, with that, let me come to it. Otherwise, it's a never-ending conversation, guys. Thanks a lot again. Interesting conversation as always on Indian football tonight. But as always, like, share, and subscribe Arun Foot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com as well. And one thing which I like to say at the end very often, don't stop supporting Indian football. So, no. So, no. I'm not on news. I was on News 9 for an interview. No. I was on I was on in an interview, in a news segment. I do not own. My God, guys, don't get me wrong. Right? No, I'm not. Hannibal. No, I'm not even close. So, all the best. And I'll catch you tomorrow. And as I say, don't stop supporting Indian football. Good night, everyone.